Right now, the most advanced AI on Earth is doing something almost embarrassingly simple. It is playing a game of guess the next word. That is genuinely it. Everything it does, writing code, explaining science, holding a real conversation, all of it pours out of one tiny move repeated over and over. Look at the text so far, and guess what comes next. Once you really see that one move clearly, the whole mysterious machine stops being magic and turns into something you can actually understand. So let me show you the gears. Here is what most people assume is going on. You type a question, and somewhere inside, the AI understands it, thinks up the answer, and then writes that answer out the way a person would. That is not how it works. The model does not think up a full answer and then type it for you. It does not even know what its second sentence is going to be when it starts the first one. It builds its response the same way you would build a sentence if somebody forced you to speak one word at a time, with no plan allowed, just always reaching for the most natural next word. There is no finished answer sitting in its head that it is reading off. The answer gets built, piece by piece, as it goes. So here is the actual move, step by step. You give the model some text. It takes everything so far and runs it through its giant network of numbers, and out the other end comes not a word, but a huge list. Every possible next word, each one with a score, a probability. After the words the sky is, the word blue might get a high score, gray a lower one, green a tiny one, and so on across tens of thousands of options. That ranked list of probabilities is what the model actually produces. It is not choosing a word so much as rating all of them at once. Then something picks one word from that list, usually favoring the high-scoring ones, but not always grabbing the single highest. It adds that word to the text. And now, this is the important part, it does the entire thing over again. The text is one word longer, so it runs that new, slightly longer text back through, gets a fresh list of probabilities for the next word, picks one, adds it. Read the text, predict the next, pick one, repeat. That loop, running incredibly fast, is the whole engine. You can almost watch it happen if you slow it right down. Say it is written so far, the best way to learn guitar is. Now it pauses and rates what could come next. The word to gets a strong score. By gets a decent one. Through, with, daily, all sitting there with their own little odds. It picks one, say two, and tacks it on. Now the text reads the best way to learn guitar is to, and it rates the next word completely fresh. Practice scores high. Start scores high. The sentence grows exactly like that, one rated guess at a time, and each new word it adds quietly changes the odds for the word after it. Nobody decided the whole sentence up front. It assembled itself, step by step, out of thousands of tiny predictions stacked end to end. One small but important detail. It does not really work in whole words. It works in tokens, those chunks of text we have talked about, sometimes a full word, sometimes just part of one. But the idea is exactly the same. Predict the next token, add it, predict the next, on and on. Whole words just make it easier to picture. If this is starting to sound a little like the autocomplete on your phone, that is exactly the right instinct. It is the same basic idea, predict the next bit of text, just scaled up almost beyond belief. Your phone keyboard learned from a modest amount of typing and can barely finish a sentence before it goes wrong. These models learned from a staggering slice of everything humans have ever written, with billions of internal dials tuned over months of training, all aimed at that one single goal: get better at guessing the next token. Same game your keyboard is playing. A wildly, almost unimaginably bigger version of it, and that size is exactly where the apparent intelligence sneaks in. And here is the part that genuinely surprises people. How on earth does guessing the next word turn into explaining quantum physics or writing a program that runs? The answer is beautiful. To get really, really good at predicting the next word across basically all the text humans have ever written, the model is quietly forced to learn an enormous amount along the way. To predict the next word in a sentence about history, it had to soak up the patterns of history. To finish a line of code correctly, it had to absorb how code actually tends to work. To continue a logical argument in a way that makes sense, it had to pick up the shape of reasoning itself. Being a fantastic next word predictor is not a cheap trick. It secretly demands learning grammar, facts, styles, tone, and the rhythms of how ideas connect, because all of that is what you need to guess well. The simple goal, just predict the next token, drags in a whole world of structure as a side effect. The simplicity is all on the surface. The depth is hidden in everything it had to learn to get good at the guessing. So what does knowing this actually change for you? a few things click into place at once. First, this is exactly why the model can be so smooth and so wrong at the very same time. Its real job is to produce a likely next word, not a true one, so a fluent, confident, completely made-up answer is just as easy for it to generate as a correct one. Nothing in the loop checks reality. It only checks what sounds like a natural continuation. Second, it is why your prompt matters so much. The model is only ever continuing the text sitting in front of it, so the words you put there steer every single prediction that follows. Give it a clear, detailed, well-aimed setup, and you are loading the early part of the text in a way that makes good continuations far more likely. A lazy prompt leaves it guessing in the dark. Third, it is why these tools have no real plan and no memory of their own intentions. Each word is chosen in the moment, based only on what came before it, not pulled from some master plan it is working toward. There is no destination. There is just the next step, then the next, then the next. Once you can picture that little loop running, read, predict, pick, repeat, a lot of the strangeness falls away. The model stops being a mysterious oracle that somehow knows things and becomes a tool with a shape you can understand and aim. You stop expecting it to think like you, and you start working with what it actually is, an astonishingly good next step guesser. That shift from magic box to understandable machine is the single most useful upgrade you can make to how you use these things. So the next time an AI writes you something that genuinely impresses you, remember what is really happening under the hood. There is no grand plan in there, and no understanding in the way you have it. Just one humble move, look at the text and guess the next chunk, repeated thousands of times a second, sitting on top of everything it quietly had to learn to make those guesses good. It is one of the strangest and most powerful ideas in all of modern technology, and now you can actually see the gears turning. And that is exactly what we do here, one clear idea at a time.